everybody's face. We have a great turnout. This is going to be a lot of fun. A quick reminder, don't forget questions, pop them in that chat box. We want to make sure we get some good questions so Jason and Hilary can kind of answer any clarification or get any good insight that way. So like Kim said, I have the pleasure of introducing Jason today. Jason I met a couple days ago, had a whole bunch of fun, got a little bit of tidbits on him. It'll be a good one. So Jason, he is originally from the Detroit area. Spent about 15 years going up and down the East Coast, so he's kind of well-traveled, been all over the place. And then he moved back to Michigan in 2007. About 10 years later, he had a calling to come to Colorado, a reprise. Something told him he's got to get here. So in 2017, he made his home in Northern Colorado, currently lives in Loveland. I asked him if he has a family, wife, kids. He said, I have one of each. I got a wife and a kiddo. So his wife is a Presbyterian pastor, and he has a 14-year-old son who's getting ready to enter high school. So, you know, pray for him. Scary stuff. Short background on him and kind of why he got engaged with a little help is he's been working in the nonprofit space, he said, for the last century. So he knows what he's doing. He worked primarily in human services in Michigan before he made his move out here in 2017. On moving here, he actually had a relationship with someone with the organization. He heard that they were expanding into Northern Colorado, and he jumped on board. Big reason why is because of the model of kind of neighbors talking to neighbors, or neighbors taking care of each other. So it's kind of a big thing of a little help that they will definitely expand on in a little bit. And he believes that, you know, keeping seniors or keeping individuals staying in their home is extremely valuable. So he certainly has some passion and a little help, and that's why he joined up. I asked if he's got some hobbies. He's got a Harley. He's got a motorcycle. He says he doesn't drive it nearly enough. So, you know, hopefully, you know, maybe with the roads not being so busy, he can kind of hop on there. He tends to tinker on things with his son in the garage. He's learning some electrical work. He wants to start expanding into more complicated designs. So he's a tinkerer, which is great. I asked him his favorite beer or dessert. He gave me 2 beers. I think you'll understand in a second. His favorite type of beer is an IPA, which is a good choice, especially for all you Fort Collins folks. We know that that's a big part of us here. He loves, he's got to stick to his roots though. So Bell's Brewing out in Michigan, he certainly still loves them. His favorite dessert is also a beer, and this is my favorite dessert. This is why we bonded. It's a Sad Panda. So anybody who's had a Sad Panda knows that that is just a delicious beer. Something no one knows about him, but should. He played football in college. He went to seminary school, and he still tends to preach fairly often in church. He used to work as a carpenter, a plumber, an engineer, an international speaker. He launched a packaging company distributing 5-hour energy drinks. You know, those little bottles of magic right when they launched. So he's worn a lot of hats. He's got a lot of experience. I asked him if he could have any superpower. He said, oh, flight. Absolutely, flight. So the closest thing he gets to that is probably getting on that motorcycle. So everybody, Jason's a cool guy. We're going to have a lot of fun today. So please give me a very warm red carpet welcome to Jason.
So thank you, everybody. Thank you, Chad. For some reason, when I filled that out, I didn't realize you're going to read the whole thing. I didn't think it through. So, yeah, but it is a lot of fun. And I go back and forth. Having a 14-year-old is fantastic because you get to have these discussions of what is your favorite superpower? You know, X-ray vision, flight, disappearing, all of the things. So that's a fairly well thought through answer and well debated with Dean, who is about to start high school and assuming things work out through the summer. And it's really taken me personally on that next level of tinkering to get involved with electronics and building all the refined kind of detail things. But it's wonderful to be here. One of the, you know, when we're 3 months into all of this pandemic crisis, it's easy to get Zoom fatigue. So I appreciate having 40 or so people on the line today. Thank you for coming out. It's fantastic. And I don't know how I'd fit 40 people in this office otherwise. So it's wonderful to have this ribbon cutting, even if it's virtual, and really be part of a broader community. So thank you for that. Thank you for Chad and the chamber, the committee, and everybody for putting this together. So I am Jason with a little help, and on the line also is Hilary, who's our executive director. She's down in Denver. She'll get to say a few words later. And also in the office is one of our interns. We have a fantastic relationship with the university. So Madison is here, who is in the Human Development and Family Services study program, looking forward to graduation. And so she's helping us out this semester and is up to help with this morning. So a big thanks to everybody. And into the meat. So why are we here? Who is this group, A Little Help? What do we do? And how did we come to be here? If you see behind me, the tagline is be part of something little. And it's kind of what we do. We're able to focus on the little things that matter to people, helping people stay in place by connecting neighbors, this resource that's valuable, to help people stay at home, to be able to do the little things that a lot of us are able to take for granted, and also to build that community that keeps people engaged and active and really be part of something bigger. So to talk today, I'm going to kind of have a two-part conversation. One is about what does A Little Help do? What did we do, like most of us here in this room? What did we do 4 months ago or 5 months ago, which is a little different than what we've been able to do during the crisis. Working with older adults, this is really kind of a special space to keep people safe, to keep people, to in some cases, it's not overstating, to say that lives were saved through volunteers coming together and doing check-in calls, making sure what was going on with folks' health and safety and community, and bringing groceries and essentials, prescriptions and things to people during the crisis when people don't want to go out. But I get ahead of myself. A Little Help, I should start by saying, started up in 2005. That's where the story starts, in a neighborhood in Denver called Washington Park. If anybody knows Wash Park, it's a place you don't want to move out of if you've lived there. So back in 2005, now 15 years ago, there was a group of neighbors who had raised their families together and lived down there. And they started to notice that they weren't able to keep up on things as they had. Some folks stopped driving. Some folks weren't comfortable getting on a ladder and climbing up to change a light bulb or something, shoveling, getting down on the ground to do garden work and pulling weeds and things. So they really started this, what's called a village of the neighbors in the community. So people who were able to do these little things were able to come over and connect with their older neighbors who weren't. And through the process, folks that didn't drive anymore but could still do the weeding and gardening were able to work in reciprocity like that and really exchange services. So out of this kind of notion, if you're doing something good, more and more people catch on. So over the years, A Little Help has become a 501c3 organization and kind of grown in this grassroots fashion through the state. So we've got offices up the slope. And a few years ago, the county, Larimer County, the Office on Aging, and a group called Partnership for Age-Friendly Communities, if people know that, they work to make Larimer County a more age-friendly community. They started looking at different models and different things that were going on with our aging population, with our folks that are getting older, and realized that there are a lot of services, there are a lot of great things going on in the county, but there are also a lot of gray areas that aren't really filled. Things like if somebody gets a new Wi-Fi printer and doesn't know how to set it up, who do you call for that? If you've got little things around the house that don't really qualify for a service provider, how do you take care of those things? And with the social aspect, we hold picnics and luncheons and educational seminars and things. And how do you? They recognized kind of this gap in services that A Little Help was able to fill. So in this grassroots fashion that we've taken, we built a team up here. We're volunteer-led, volunteer-driven, and we started up here just about 2 years ago. Coming up in October of 18 is our official launch. So now we're here, and we do all those kind of things that we talked about. Over the years, Hilary has, she's been involved with A Little Help for 8 years or so, and she's kind of helped to architect this model where we are able to work with volunteers, and we're able to work with older adults, and putting people together really intergenerationally to do those things I described, of getting up and just the little help things, from hanging a shelf, hanging a picture, to shoveling snow when the weather gets bad, or yard cleanups. Last fall, we had 200 people come out, volunteers, to do a big yard cleanup day through the city. And it was amazing to see, you know, and like everything else, it's a party. We started, the Silver Grill brought cinnamon rolls, Starbucks brought coffee. We finished up at a brewery, and you may as well make a day of it if you're doing it. So volunteering with A Little Help, we try to have fun. So we do those things, those services. We do the, you know, the social pieces. And then mid-March came along, and we said, what can we do to help people? We can't do in-home services because we don't want to expose people, anybody, to the virus. So we really, like I said, focused and drilling down and doing the care calls and those deliveries of essential items. And it was kind of, I mentioned this in our breakout session, it was really one of the most moving things that I've seen in a very long time, to be part of a solution that really had the establishment, had the connections, and was able to expand and really serve the folks that are most at risk in that crisis. And we've expanded tremendously. It's been great to see, you know, we've getting referrals, and we've served close to 40 more people just in the past few weeks, really a couple months. And over that time here in this Northern Colorado office, we've had over 100 volunteers sign up to really engage people and work with people and provide these essential services, which has been fantastic. Statewide, what have we had, Hilary? Over 750 volunteers sign up. It has been one of the most moving, one of the most humbling experiences that I've had, just watching all of this unfold. And now we kind of make this shift back towards whatever normal looks like. So we've been able to start doing outdoor work again. We can't do the big service Saturday where we get hundreds of people together at a park and break out in groups, but as a household, as a family unit, maybe as a work unit, we can come together and do the yard work, the outdoor work, from weeding to, in these past couple of windstorms, we've gotten a lot of requests for sticks being down. Yards are in kind of disarray with the wind, and you know, I've talked to too many people who have taken a fall because they think they can get out and do something and really need that kind of volunteer connection. So we're able to do outdoor work. We do a lot up here of dog walking through a relationship that we built with the university. They had to transition a pet care program, in-home pet care for older adults, and we were able to take that on. So we do a lot of pet walking. We're now back into transportation. So as of June 1st, we were able to provide rides again to essential services, to medical appointments. We've done a couple of rides to veterinary appointments. People's dogs, that human-animal connection is huge. So we're kind of trying to figure out how to get back. And in that process, you know, I want to let you guys know what's going on, but I also want to let you know that how to get involved. If you are, or if you know somebody that needs a little help, that's what we're here for, is to be able to offer that. If you've got a group, or if you want to come out and volunteer, we need that support as well. And of course, in this crisis particularly, everything is uncertain, including the financial piece of it. So if, you know, we're as a small nonprofit, we work to keep the doors open and to keep being able to build those relationships and make those connections. So if you're able to contribute financially, that's wonderful as well. Hilary, I'm going to invite you to come on at this point. So everybody gets to meet. One thing that I should touch on, there's a lot that I've glossed over, so do put things in the comments. But I want to bring Hilary on. Hilary is, like I said, really one of the architects of our model. This is a pretty unique model. You can talk a little bit more about that, Hilary. But one thing that I want to point out, so Hilary is actually physically in Denver right now. The organization, a lot of our operations.
Right now, I snuck away. So
where are you?
I'm in Salida.
Are you really?
This is not my home, I wish. Our former executive director and current board member, Paul, I'm very close with him, and he and I helped build this model together for the last 8 years, and he let me sneak up to their mountain house. So
nice. I've
got a beautiful view aside from Jason.
Aside from Jason, that's how it goes, isn't it? Thanks for So why would you be in Denver?
Oh, in general, yes. So
I was about to talk about the operations and the civvy and all of that.
Yeah, absolutely. So our main kind of administrative headquarters are in Denver, and that's partially just because that's where we began. And as Jason was sharing the Washington Park story, actually 8-9 years ago, our name was Washington Park Cares. And we realized when we knew we had a model that could help more than just the folks in 3 neighborhoods, that Washington Park Cares probably wasn't going to fly up in Fort Collins. So we did some focus groups with older adults who said, you know, I don't need help. I just need a little help sometimes. And we said, then we'll be a little help. And the feedback we get from members now in a lot of thank you notes and testimonials is that we should be called a lot of help. So it's great to hear that we're meeting the needs and our older adults are getting what they need with a little help and from their neighbors. I've been looking at the chats here too, so I have a few comments, and I'm sure that the chamber's on it as well, but just wanted to fill in some more information, and I'll back up first. I got sidetracked with my whole Salida conversation. I'm happy to be here. I'm Hilary Lemons. I'm the executive director of A Little Help. I worked with A Little Help for 6.5 years as our program director, actually beginning as our administrative assistant part-time in 2012, long ago, and learning the ropes, but became the executive director in January. So it's been quite a ride in 2020, but I'm just so happy to, you know, be back with the organization, and I have a master's in public health, so hopefully being able to bring some of that expertise to the table during this crisis. And one big thing that we did, that we have done and are doing throughout the pandemic is making sure our volunteers have the information to safely serve, so that they're protected and our older adults are. So we've written protocols for each type of volunteer work on how to stay safest and distanced, and making sure we've got masks and aren't in proximity with older adults right now, to make sure everybody's staying safe. So that was a big thing we've done with all these volunteers coming on board. You know, I'm really proud of our team for going remote and making processes leaner at the same time to be able to onboard over 750 volunteers organization-wide and maintaining best practices. So background checking every single one of them, sharing our trainings and those volunteer protocols with everybody who came on board, and with all of our volunteers who have been helping us for years, just making sure they knew what service would look like during this time. And a big thing that we've done during COVID to make sure that our administrative office wasn't serving as kind of a middleman where things could get lost is to really hyper locally match volunteers. And we mapped all of our volunteers and all of our older adults so that we were making one-to-one matches that were, you know, hopefully within a few blocks of each other, which has been pretty amazing, for those volunteers who are doing care calls and running the grocery and supply errands. And our members have been called as often as they want to be called, which sometimes looks like 3 times a week, and sometimes those conversations last an hour, and real relationships are being formed there, which is beautiful. And we're hearing from both sides that they can't wait to meet in person when they're able. So, you know, I think that's been just a beautiful model and relationship to see. And we realized pretty quickly in March that, you know, we do have the model and infrastructure to support our older adults, and they are the most vulnerable. So we made those matches, you know, right away, so that our older adults had somebody that was always checking on them specifically, and that nothing would get, you know, lost as lots of requests were coming in. And I know many nonprofits during this time have had to scale back or not accept members and things like that. But we were really pleased that we were able to keep up the capacity to onboard new older adults and make sure that anybody who needed access to fresh food could get it. And in part, that's been in partnership with Larimer County, and Jason has done a great job shepherding that relationship and making sure we could work with the county to get the help that our older adults needed, and support actually bringing on some high-level part-time temporary folks that were volunteering in our office already, but to bring them on as community response coordinators and be able to pay them for the incredible work they've done too, to help make those matches and onboard all of our folks. So I think during this time, and I'm sure you've seen it as a chamber, that nonprofits and organizations and businesses in general have come together in a bigger way, and more partnerships have been formed and solidified. And you know, I always look for silver linings, and that's been a beautiful thing to see, is just how many folks are working together to make sure that all of our community members are being served holistically. And you know, it's something we would try to do in normal times as well, but to see how much people have come together and worked well together to make sure folks don't fall through the gaps during this time has been beautiful to see. And I think Jason, I apologize. I have my dogs up here, and my fiance just got back, so I apologize. I think Jason and I both feel really fortunate to be working for this type of organization during this time, and feeling like we are part of the solution and a productive way to help. And I think that's why so many volunteers have come on board too, is, you know, we've all been, at first it felt really helpless and wanting to find a way to be part of something during this, and knowing that you're saving older adults' lives, and it's really come to that during this, has been really powerful. One other thing to note is our little kindness kits. So that's a program we created during this time, and realized, you know, we have all these volunteers who really want to be helping and making a difference, and we have all these older adults who we want to make sure know that we're thinking about them and we care about them. And once we got the basic essentials, kind of phase 1 ready, we wanted to go that extra mile to show our older adults we were here for them. So our volunteers have assembled little kindness kits and put together, you know, at a low or no cost, of things, you know, around the house, puzzles you've already done, books you've read and loved and want to share, and handwritten notes that say, hey, we're thinking about you. Art or crafts from the kiddos into a kit, and dropping them off at our members' doorsteps. And they didn't know they were coming, so our older adults were really pleased, and we got a great reception to those kindness kits to just spread some sunshine. That's been a wonderful thing as well. One other note, or a few other notes, and I know we've only got 10 minutes left, so I know I talk a lot. Before COVID, as I sometimes think of it, transportation is also a big thing we provide. So making sure our older adults are mobile and have access to going to the grocery store, which you know, I don't think we'll do that for quite some time now, while we have willing volunteers able to go into grocery stores. But going to doctor's appointments, health-related appointments and beauty appointments, and just social events too, going to bridge games, coming to our summer picnics, things like that. So That's always a big thing we do. And as Jason mentioned, in the last week and a half have started to do limited health-related transportation with volunteer protocols and distancing, and the windows are open, the older adults in the back seat, everyone's wearing masks to make sure that older adults can start to get back to health appointments, doctor's appointments, physical therapy, things like that. And everybody's opting into that. Nobody's, if you're not comfortable yet, we certainly understand, and are just making sure we're matching the folks who need to get out and about. And one note that a question we get a lot is, does this exist elsewhere? So we are part of a national network called the Village to Village Network. I actually serve on the board. And there are autonomous, run in different ways, villages that help older adults throughout the country. And our founders, who are now in their late 90s and live on Washington Park, had read an article about Beacon Hill Village in Boston, which was the first senior village. And those articles were nationwide at the time, and a lot of villages sprung up. So there may be 300 or 400 now throughout the country, but actually A Little Help is one of the, I would say, top 2 or 3 as far as size and impact. So we're really proud that we've been able to leverage the model and equip our good neighbors to help. Another FAQ, and I think I saw it in the chat, was just how membership works. We do have a pay what you can model. So funding is not a barrier to help folks, and especially during COVID, we postponed any new member dues so that folks could just get access. We wanted to make sure we were helping as many people as we could. So, we have folks who pay, from $50 to $300 a year, and some folks who donate beyond that to help kind of share the care. So we work with folks, and we understand that we have folks on fixed income, and we want to make sure that we can serve them too. But we have found it usually helps to have some skin in the game, and especially for our older adults to feel that they're able to ask for help and to actually call in and use it. For the folks who sometimes are free, they haven't called in, or don't want to accept charity per se. So we do have some skin in the game, and it is pay what you can, and we're very flexible and work with folks.
Yeah, that membership model is tremendous.
Yeah,
really
we want to just be really inclusive.
Service provider or that. And Hilary, I hate to cut you off, but we've only a few minutes left. And it is a ribbon cutting. And I have to announce the Great Little Help giveaway. So
excellent. Take it back away, Jason. Thank you.
We're going to steal it back. So Chad is modeling.
There's more, I promise.
Hey guys, before we do the ribbon cutting, let's answer some questions, because you do have some in the chat. Can we do that first real fast? So we can get all these questions. So Mary Elizabeth has quite a few questions. Mary, do you want to unmute yourself, and you can just ask the ones?
Yeah, you already said that you are a nonprofit, but how did PAFC help you get set up in Fort Collins?
So if you're familiar with PAFC, the Partnership for Age-Friendly Communities, they have 4 different kind of priority areas. One of them is housing. And they have teams that kind of explore different options for helping older adults in Larimer County stay in their homes or find affordable and reasonable good housing. And I'm not doing justice to that committee, but we'll have them on later. But they had what they call a self-directed volunteer team that had found out, actually heard Hilary speaking at an event up here a few years ago, and said, that's a valuable organization. We've got to bring them up here. So that team from PAFC worked with the county and worked with other nonprofits to kind of create a local infrastructure. I mentioned that grassroots nature, and it really worked like that. So when we started, now with a coordinator in Berthoud, but at the time I was the only staff person in Northern Colorado, and this volunteer leadership team helped with building relationships and planning for events and activities, and really doing the hands-on work as a plug, if you want to be on that team, give me a call. So that's how PAFC really, I'd like to say, they paved the road for us to come up here by making those introductions and things.
Wonderful. Nate has a question. Can you talk about what qualifies someone to receive services from your organization?
To receive services? Sure. Handsome Nate down there in the corner. We serve older adults primarily. There are always some exceptions, and that's another question that I see farther down in the list. But our guideline is 55 and older for someone to qualify as an older adult in our system, and just call us up. And we have folks that need a little more help. We have folks that are kind of looking forward to say, when I need a little more help, what infrastructure, what tools am I going to have in place to get that? So they're kind of easing into the model. And there's some, I'm thinking of a couple right now that we help them with snow shoveling and technology help, and they help us, frankly, with providing rides and hosting events and things like that. So it really goes both ways.
Okay, very good.
And just to answer the question about kind of younger folks who may have disabilities or similar limitations to older adults, we don't have a hard age line. You don't have to be 55 and above to qualify, but that is typically who we serve. So we have been able to help some younger folks who have similar needs to older adults. The main thing, though, if you are getting transportation, it is in volunteers' cars. So you have to be, our members have to be ambulatory enough to be able to get into and out of a volunteer's car with not much more than an arm up. So we have folks who have like fold-up wheelchairs that they are able to transfer in and out of, but we don't have ADA accessible vehicles. But we do partner with other organizations in the area to make sure when folks are looking for a little more help that we can find partners to help them.
And how old do you have to be to volunteer? Like, I have 2 girls that are doing nothing right now that would love to pet walk. Is that option, or how old do you have to be, 18 or?
Give me a call.
Okay.
We are, in fact, I think, Hilary, it was yesterday or the day before that we finalized our team documentation. So at the big events, the service Saturdays, probably a third of those 200 volunteers were kids, littler kids. Right now, particularly with the kids being at home and out of school through the spring, we were able to really kind of think about how do we get the teenagers, the middle and high schoolers involved. So yeah.
Okay, cool.
We can definitely work with
Wonderful.
younger, which raises another point that I'll just tack on. All of our volunteers are background checked and screened and go through an online training module. So we are really focused on keeping everybody safe. Also, somebody that's paired with a minor on a kind of ongoing basis as a member is also background checked and screened. So again, we're not making a bad connection or introduction there.
Very good. Very good. Okay, so I know we're running out of time and we want to do this ribbon cutting. So for everyone else who I didn't get to your questions, I'll send you Jason's information and you can just chat with Jason by email. But we do want to do our ribbon cutting. So you guys ready for your ribbon cutting?
Yeah, before that, though, we do want to make an announcement too, though. If you actually go and you give them a follow on Facebook, that is how we are going to do the drawing. Okay. So we will make that announcement on Friday. So make sure you check out their social media pages, give them a follow, give them a like. What we're giving away is it's a hat, a coffee cup, a t-shirt, some magnets, stickers, basically all the great swag in the world, and it's going to be in a little goodie bag for you. So show them some love, give them some support on Facebook, and we will make the announcement there. So with that being said, what we'll do is we'll go ahead and do the virtual ribbon cutting. So everybody get ready to clap.
Oh, here, let me unmute everybody so we can all clap together. Hold on.
You want to do the cutting? All right, all right.
Oh, that's right. I can't unmute you all. You have to unmute yourself. So unmute yourself so you're ready to clap.
Can everybody see the ribbon? We doing good? All right. So 1, 2, 3, a little help. 1, 2, 3.
A little help.
Kim, I just want to give them a quick shout out if I can.
Sure, Brenda, go ahead.
Thank you. I volunteer with A Little Help, and I just want to tell you guys they are a fantastic organization. I actually wish I had more time. They're doing a great job, and I'll tell you a couple of my clients through my Medicare business receive help from them, and it makes a big difference. They're doing a great work with our seniors out there. So if you can help them out, they'll work with your schedule. Every little bit matters. So just want to say thank you to A Little Help for what you're doing.
Awesome. Thank you, Brenda.
Thank you, Brenda.
All right, guys, so that concludes our red carpet reception this morning. I want to thank you all for attending again. We'll be doing the same thing next week, so please look forward to that email on Friday. And I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your week, and we'll see you all next week. Thank you all. Thank you, Jason. Thank you, Hilary, for joining us.
Thank you, everybody.